Now it's time to start making these wire armatures look more like tree limbs and tree trunks with bark and some cool stuff like that. And we're going to be using this material, fiber paste from the Golden Company. And this is a really cool material that's for artists, but it will really give these trees some life. It takes texturing really well, and it remains flexible when it's dry, and it's easy to paint, and it takes glue and the matte medium really well, so we can put some thatching on here and get some leaves going. So we're going to use this today. I'll show you how to do it. So here are the materials we need: the fiber paste, palette, an old paintbrush, some water, and a tub of water to clean my brush out. Here's my tree, and this is a piece of regular kitchen parchment paper. So if I lay some root structure out down here with the fiber paste, once it dries, I can just peel them off of this paper instead of having them stick to my wooden tree rack. So we're going to take a couple brushfuls of the fiber paste, kind of put them down on the palette here. This is acrylic, so it cleans up and thins down with water. You can also tint this if you want with some acrylic paints, and it will work pretty good. Keep the lid on it. Let's put a little water over here. Put it in this one here. What we do is just take the fiber paste and start to lay it in on the wires here. Now it's going to take several coats to cover up all the wires, which is fine, but pretty quick this tree will not look like it's made out of florist wire. Fill in all the gaps there and get that inside. Also put the fiber paste on the branches, the limbs. It'll give it some nice texture and also get rid of that wire appearance. Like I said, we're going to put a couple coats on here, so bear with me. Stuff usually dries pretty quickly. Of course, today is kind of damp, getting some rain here. A little bit on the cool side. Of course, I can't take any credit for this method of making trees. This all is from Boomer Diorama, who's on YouTube as well. If you haven't checked out his channel yet, I've been referring to him and his techniques for quite a little while, and he models in the HO scale and the Pacific Northwest, and his modeling is just beyond belief. Just very, very convincing, very realistic, and the techniques and the things that he does, scratch building and putting scenery together, are amazing. So go check him out. I'll put a link in the description below again, so you can follow him on YouTube, and that would be awesome. You can learn more of the details. He's pretty good as far as talking through all his techniques. He was a professional model builder and set designer for the movie industry, and got quite the interesting backstory. So by adding just a little bit of water and thinning down the fiber paste, it helps the material sink into the twists and the curves and turns of the wire when you're twisting it around to get it into a tree shape. So continue coating the wires, and then we'll set this aside and let it dry for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then come back and give it the next coat. One of the good things about having a nice big stick here at the end to mount the tree eventually is that it also becomes a way of handling the tree while you're painting it, or in this case putting on the fiber paste. And sometimes it's a little bit easier to get the work done using your one hand to twist things around to get this base coat on and get it in all the little places. Starting on tree number 2 here. This is the one that's going to be going up against the backdrop, because you can see there's no branches on the backside, they're all in front. So I'm looking forward to getting this guy finished up and have him up against the background. I think it's going to really look awesome once that's done. Cool thing about the fiber paste is you can plug up these big gaps and it just stays there, and it'll eventually harden but stay flexible, so I can eventually blend all this together and make it look like a big root section of the tree coming down into the to the ground. So that's a neat thing about this stuff. It just takes a little bit, takes some patience, but this is a good put some nice music on, listen to model railroading podcast or whatever you want to do, and futz around with these guys, and it's pretty relaxing. So I'm going to continue on with this next tree as my other one is drying, and then got one more to do out of the 3 that I I already twisted and turned into these tree armatures. So we'll get all those done. I think it's kind of good to get everything kind of in batches. So, I've got my brush dirty, more or less. I've got my materials out for doing the trees, so I might as well do 3 of them at the same time. And then once they're all done, I got 3 trees completed in the same time it would take just to do 1. So, or maybe a little bit longer, but I think that's the way to go. Okay, well, the first coat is on the wire armatures, and it is dry and flexible still, and it is time for a second coat on all 3 of these trees. We'll start with this middle one and get that one going, put a second coat on, then complete these other 2. And then we'll take one more coat where we'll give the texture and kind of make it look like tree bark. Then at that point, it'll be ready to add some thatching to the branches, to add some more small branches. And then it'll be time to do some painting, and we'll be getting closer and closer to the final product here in just a few days worth of work. So let's get going, putting a second coat on these trees. Again, going to be using the same product, the golden fiber paste, the paintbrush, a little bit of water, and we'll start to add more of this fiber paste to the trunk and to the branches. See how nice that sticks, a lot easier now. And just that little bit on the bottom of this trunk really starts to give the impression of a thick, gnarly old tree trunk. I'm putting this on at full strength. I'm going to build up this trunk area. Just continue to brush it upwards, up the trunk. And as you can see, where I got some overage on this piece of parchment paper, this fiber paste peels right off. So that's a nice benefit to that, nice bonus. I'm just gonna kind of leave some of these imperfections and gaps and holes and things in the trunk. Kind of like the way that looks. This is gonna be one of those real old trees sitting near the Blackwater Junction depot in that whole Blackwater area there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this out of the way somewhere for right now. That way we have kind of a more uncluttered background. Added just a little bit of water now to the fiber paste. Kind of get it into all these little nooks and crannies. Working on the main part of the trunk first, and I'll come back and do the the other branches. So you kind of get the idea of how this goes. It's just very mellow and low key and just continue to add the fiber paste onto the wire armature of this tree, trying to hide the look of the twisted wire, covering it with the fiber paste. So we're going to continue on. I mean, look at that. That looks just awesome, like actual bark for sure. So I'm loving this technique, and I'll continue on and give a second coat to this tree and show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, I've got the second coat of the fiber paste on the tree, and I'm gonna add some more, kind of a big clump here, to try to give it some root, the look of some roots coming down out of here. And we know that the fiber paste doesn't stick to the parchment paper. This tree is going to be seen from pretty much all angles, so I'm going to try to add some root structure around the entire tree. So yeah, that's looking good. So let's do the same with this tree here. Big glob of the fiber paste. This is the one that's going to be up against the backdrop. So I'm going to push this wad around over there like that. Let's turn the tree a bit. And let me reposition the camera. All right. Oops. this had a big open spot here where the brush is that had the loop of wire and the bamboo skewer stuck in it. Kind of leave it like that for right now. Let this dry up so I don't wreck what I already put in there. Let's move this tree just a little bit. That's the deal with anything with scenery or painting or weathering. You get to a point and it looks good, leave it. Don't mess with it. All right. We're gonna leave that the way it is right now and let that dry overnight. We fill in that gap just a little bit. There we go. Looking pretty good. And when that dries, the thick bunch of the material will stay with the tree, and the thinner stuff will just peel right off. Once this material starts to dry a little bit, wet my brush and go over the material that I already put there and try to get it just a little bit smoother. But you can see right there, that's a happy accident. That looks like a broken branch, doesn't it? So that's the cool thing about this fiber paste. It does some incredible things. Just has that bark look. So we'll do that, and we'll join you for the third installment of making these wire trees in just a little bit.
Living alone.